Hey, there we go. Except
Oh, Chief.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm here.
can you guys hear us now? Hey, it looks so fuzzy.
I think they can hear
Yeah.
us.
We're looking real fuzzy.
No,
I'm looking fuzzy for sure.
I'll zoom in. Put your hand in front of the camera. Oh, you got a beard.
On my beard.
Mm-hmm. I gotta mute
Fuzzy and
us.
healthy.
Okay, at least we.
Well,
Okay. First of all, that scared the hell out of me because I went into Video Ninja and all I see is this on your face, and I panicked.
You're like, we can't go live.
I'm like, what is happening right now? I thought you guys were playing a joke on me. Okay, but you're not. Welcome to the lodge, everybody.
We wouldn't joke with you.
A bit of a rocky beginning. I don't even know. We were all literally just here before we went live, and then we hit the live button, and all of a sudden we all disappeared. I'm not sure what happened. So we'll hopefully stick around for the rest of the show, I guess.
People wear Halloween outfits all month. You get a new one every day in October, or how does this work?
It's not acceptable to wear them any day of the month, including Halloween.
Yes.
You don't like Halloween?
Halloween is let me tell you why Halloween is the worst holiday of all time.
My wife would fight
don't
you if she
like
heard you say
people, so I don't like when somebody's ringing my doorbell every 35 seconds and my dog goes crazy. I shut off. We shut off all of the lights in the house and we hide. You save money on candy.
You're a Grinch.
Yes, and I'm proud of it.
Mr. Grinch.
I'm proud to be a Grinch. But welcome in.
Starving.
So some quick housekeeping items before we kind of jump into the topic. This show brought to you by Texas Select Barbecue. Wild Bill going to give us
say something else. That's more of an inside joke.
Texas Select Barbecue. He's our sponsor. The show's brought to you by Wild Bill, and it's
like seasoning.
Seasoning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I misspoke. I'm going off the logo, I guess. Wild Bill, good dude. Seems like a good dude already. I'm happy that we're doing business with him. But he'll be a guest in 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks from today.
15th.
Yes.
October 15th.
And he's gonna be a regular guest, and I'm very much looking forward to learning all about meats and how to rub meats.
And we're canceled.
And end scene.
And we're canceled. I mean,
so
it was a good run, y'all. Thanks for coming. So if you want to come on the 15th, and we can all talk about rubbing our meats. I mean,
and then you had to say, come on the 15th. I don't know why you had to go there.
What to put on it. Your favorite meats to rub. I mean,
it seems innocent to me. I don't
learn a lot from Wild Bill.
Oh, I'm excited.
I really am excited about that, honestly.
He is one heck of a person.
I really want to try his spicy rubs. Not gonna lie. I need to get with him when he gets everything in order some.
I
want some of the spicy ones.
Ironically, I think I'm possibly doing a meat weekend the weekend that he's a guest, where a couple of me and my buddies we get together. We get together. I get together with a couple of my buddies.
That's generally how the meat weekend starts.
That's right. And we get a butt or two. We get some salmon.
Yep.
Some ribs, some wings, brisket. There's gonna be some briskets. It's great. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to try some of his seasonings on the stuff that we make, and we do it a couple times
after this.
No, we're good. He's good. So a little recap from last week. We had Jaron, the dog tracker from Minnesota. I haven't talked to him. I talked to him a little bit afterwards. He had fun. He loved the show. He loved being a part of it.
So much.
This is great, really right?
Cool.
I got a lot of feedback from people that they learned a lot, and it was good to listen to that sort of a topic. So that was cool. So it was fun, and he'll be back. I think we'll have him back after the deer season. We'll bring him and his little team and see how their season went and things like that, which is fun and exciting. But that brings us to this week, right? We got a show this week. No guests this week. You get the three of us, our beautiful, handsome faces. And tonight we're going to talk about fall fishing. I don't know a lot about fall fishing. I know about thermocline. That's one of the things I want to talk about is thermocline, which I don't even know if you guys experience thermocline and lakes changing over. Do you really?
Oh yeah, we experience changeover for sure.
Really?
It's and you can see it on your fish finders. But it's not like for a long period of time, but we definitely experienced it.
Yep. Cool. So Fish, do you want to start with just kind of diving into, I don't know, I'm assuming you're going to talk bass. Are you going to talk carp? Are you going to talk catfish or anything?
I think if we're going to leave catfishing, I would leave that up to the man, the myth, the legend, Chief. Some of my favorite things to do this time of year is chase around some green monsters at shameless plug, Carolina Bass Company.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love chasing green monsters and white bass this time of year. White bass, and when I say white bass, it's also / depending on where I'm at, hybrids. Literally, I'm changing nothing and catching the same thing. I like to switch to, when I'm chasing the white bass, I like to go to really as light as tackle as I can, 6 to 8 pound tests. And my go-to this time of year is going to be like, if we're doing that and we're chasing around the white bass or even the bass, or you can even catch catfish doing it, is little like 3-inch swim baits. These are new ones that I haven't tried. But little 3-inch swim baits this year is my go-to on little light tackle. I mean, I've gone out there. Was it last year? I caught like 75 in one morning. You can go out there and just catch them every cast. But
so how is that different from June or even May?
Okay, so this is the time of year, fall, where it's kind of my favorite fishing. It can be different depending on where you're at in the states of what stage of fall fishing you're in. Places that are up north are in full freaking swing right now. You got everything is going in shallower. Based on the like the shad spawns or whatever, your bait fish are going to be really small. That's what I'm saying with the 3-inch or little tiny swim baits or chatter baits or anything like that is what I'm trying to match this time of year. It's kind of my favorite time. So fall is starting to get cooler outside. The trees are changing, and can we all agree as sportsmen, we all despise pleasure boaters and ski-doos, and it's the time of year where they're getting off the lake, right? Because it's a little too cold for them, right? So there's not as much boat traffic, and it also, a lot of fishermen are hunters, right? So this time of year, a lot of people are in the woods, so the fish aren't getting as much pressure. Yeah, exactly. Like, and a lot of people that fish are also avid outdoorsmen and hunting too. So this time of year, a lot of people go out into the woods. That's why this time is kind of my favorite. You can catch some of the biggest fish of the year can be caught this time of year, especially when it's like the end of the fall transition before winter. This is the time where they start feeding, right? They go from that hot weather where they're slow and deep, they're moving up shallower, going to like the creek channels and in the creeks and coming out in the little flats, and they're just gorging themselves trying to get ready for the winter, right? So I've caught some of my biggest bass this time of year, right? So it's different everywhere else depending on what they're feeding on, but this time of year I'm really keen on really small baits from in my lakes around here. Gizzard shads are big, but you could have thread fins or any shad you got going. You're gonna want a good rule of thumb is match the hatch, right?
Right. That follows through from the spring to the summer and into the fall. And we're going to probably throw out the word thermocline a lot tonight because I think it is a part of fall fishing, even though Chief doesn't maybe not experience it in certain places like the rivers. And we can talk about that and why that's the case and why you're not going to experience thermocline in a river or bodies of water that have movement. But the bass are going to look for, like you're talking about, they're going to be looking for that bait, and those bait fish are going to be changing. They're migrating because of the changing temperatures of the water, and the bass are going to follow those bait fish. That's what you have to do. You have to find those bait fish and match them.
I mean, that's a big thing. Well, it depends where you're fishing to. In my lakes, I don't have tons of vegetation. But so I mean, there's like what I love fall is it's a short period, but there's a lot of the baits that you want to be using kind of change throughout it depending on what stage you're in. And it can vary between like fall in the south. I almost feel like we're not quite there. Like even though we're in fall, I've been saying it, and the fishing has been very finicky for me a lot of the times right now. So I've been using a lot more. I've been having most of my luck on finesse techniques. My go-to, like right now in the South, where when nothing else is working, is a freaking right here. Robo worms or missile baits. These 6-inch. These are Aaron's Morning Dawn. If you're doing anything somewhat clear, like Morning Dawn, Aaron's Morning Dawn, killer color. Can't go wrong with that. Or a little more stain like a bull bluegill. This year I've caught a lot on it's been more stained water and hot water.
Mhm.
There's Missile Baits has partnered and you with RoboWorm, and they make essentially the same thing in a bunch. It's a little different, but it's essentially the same thing in a lot of different colors that you can't just get from RoboWorm. So there's one called Junebug Dream that is just a dream right now.
Are those colors that you would not typically use, say, in the spring and the summer? Now you got to remember, I'm really not a bass fisherman.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, like so here in Texas in the waters that I fish, and it's going to be different colors depending on where you're fishing is what you're going to want to use. So general rule of thumb is if you're in a stain to cloudy to darker waters, you're going to want to use darker colors, right? So, but if you're in like very clear water, you're going to want to use more natural baits, like high vis or natural baits like these would be really good. Anything like perch colored is usually really good. I had a lot of luck when I was in Michigan earlier. I used a lot of perch colors because it was crystal clear. But
so when do we get to use the hot pink lures?
During the spawn. I know you're being a smart aleck.
No, I'm really not. Like it just seems weird
hot
because
pink, either floating worms or these right here. This is another good bait this time of year. This is a fluke. I've caught a lot of bass, especially hot pink or white, with a fluke, with just like a little. Even Texas rigging these and throwing them on beds if you're gonna bed fish can be a really good thing. This time of year, flukes are another one because hey, they're zoning in on bait fish, right?
Yep.
That dying action of a fluke can be really good. But one of the biggest reasons that I love fall fishing around here is it's the time of year where I have the best luck top water. And I have so much luck once it starts. I'd say usually after you get that really first big cold front. After that, I mean, we still haven't got it. Where our waters are still hot. We hopefully are getting it next week. So after that, I'm hoping that the top water really starts getting on. And once again, I love using like a Pop-R, one of the smaller ones. Hey, sorry, my animals are over here fighting.
Get those animals in line.
Right. So I'll show you my favorite Pop-R for either ponds or even big bodies of water this time of year. I think I have one right here. Yeah.
He brought all the tackle in tonight.
Brought the tackle box. All right.
That's impressive.
They're for top water this time of year, y'all. I know we're getting off it a little bit.
Not really.
But right here in Sexy Shad, a little Pop-R. This bait has caught me so many bass, and there is nothing better than catching a bass on top water. Period. You can't argue with me. I know a lot of people. I want to get better with the frog this year.
I wouldn't argue with that. I think anything on top water is
this
a blast.
is my go-to bait, whether it be big waters. So the only thing about this is you're not going to cover as much water as if you're going to throw a whopper plopper or a buzz bait or even a walking bait. So the situation where you're going to want to throw a Pop-R, you're in smaller ponds, you kind of know where they're at. It's not a lot of water to cover. or B, targeted areas. You're like, okay, well, I know they should be over in that area. I'm going to cast that area. I'm going to work it and then reel it in, cast to that area, work it, and then, reel in. It's not like it's not meant to be, work the whole way. It's not a search bait. It's okay, I know this, you throw this to high percentage areas, right? It's really good in ponds because, they're more condensed. But high percentage areas, you're going to sit and throw these. If you're looking for them this time of year and you still haven't found where they're at, I may suggest a walking style bait. This is another killer this time of year. Once again, the shad are up there, right? They're really schooled together. One of these smaller walking baits, white. I got white because hey, my waters are usually a little more stained, but if you're clear, don't be afraid to use some of those more translucent colors to natural ones. These are just all they doing is you're walking along, they're mimicking bait fish, getting away from predator fish. So you can cover a lot more water with something like this, or a whopper plopper, or even like a buzz bait. Those I would put more in like the top water, like I'm searching for fish category. I go to the pop bar when I'm like, I know this is where they should be. I'm throwing it high percentage areas. That's what you're gonna get. And there's something about the pop bar where you can be throwing these all day long. They may not hit it, but you can work that pop bar and they just can't resist it. They don't work.
Kind of going back to what we're kind of the whole topic of being fall fishing, those types of lures, that type of lure, and feel free to jump in, Chief, if you have any answers. I'm just asking questions because I'm clueless. I'm assuming, again, matching the hatch or whatever, where the bait fish are migrating and changing because of the water temperatures. That's why that type of lure is going to work better at this time of year versus, say, May or June when the bait is deeper and the fish are going to be deeper. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, it definitely is.
And Chad, I don't know if like this time of year, especially in our lakes, we got a really healthy like gizzard shad. And I think we got thread fin and other stuff, but almost once you get to a point, usually starts around September. It's a little behind. They're kind of starting to it. But almost every morning, if you know where to look, you can find I call them boils, which is just, it looks like the water is just boiling because the white bass and the largemouth and whatever, all the predator fish are down there and they've pushed all the shad to the surface. And these can be freaking a couple 100 feet wide, or they can just be little small areas and they could pop up or they could stay up for hours. You never really know. That's why I love white bass fishing a lot, because it's a lot of times the white bass doing it. And they'll push them to the top and it'll look like the water's boiling. And when you find that, I mean, you see the birds diving down, they're trying to get it. That's usually how you can find it. Is a big thing this time of year is look for the birds, right?
Okay.
Look where they're blue herring, look where they're sitting on the bank, right? A lot of time these birds are out there, they're looking for the bait and the meal, just like these fish, right? So what I'll do is I'll drive around and I'll look for them. I'm like, okay, well, they're sitting over here. They know, and they know generally around this time of day they come, right? So you'll have birds waiting, or you'll see the gulls diving down. Pay attention to the birds. The birds can be your best friend. They're not liars like turtles. Turtles will lie to you, but the birds aren't going to lie to you.
Turtles will bite you.
Yeah, they will.
Geese will bite him too.
Oh, that's because we paid them. We paid those geese.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So I was
right in the fish soccer hind end. Rawr, gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha, bitch.
But yeah, so anything you're gonna match, like I know there's gonna, like I said, I like and also a very, very effective bait if you're going for bass or white bass or anything this time of year is going to be a little 1.5 crankbait, right? And color your choice, where your confidence with. Once again, I like anything shad colored or sexy shad or anything like that.
What's the difference between just shad and sexy shad? Does one have like, and I'm not even being a jackass right now. Does the sexy shad, does that have like the shiny silver parts in them, or
glitter?
Okay. Jazz hands.
So
this shad has jazz hands.
Right here is sexy shad. So he's kind of got like the top. It's got like that, and you see there's like a yellow kind of in the belly. That's more of a sexy shad, right?
It's pretty sexy.
I
It
was
is
going to
pretty
show us the ugly shad.
I
Let's
need
see
it.
what I have. I mean, a shad is just going to be more of like a silver shad colored, right? I don't think I have any.
What kind of bass fisherman are you? You don't even have a regular shad. See, you just
I
went.
do.
You just
I
went
just didn't
right
want
to
to
the
bring
sexy
all of
shad.
my
I like your
stuff to my
style.
computer because my luck, I'd dump it over. I'd have a dog here. I mean,
Yeah.
this is another very effective bait. The Rapala shad wrap right here. This is more of your shad color, right? So this can be very effective this time of year too, and in cold water.
I love that color, the black, silver, and with the red little bottom.
This is one of my favorite, just simple colors, right?
And side note, for anybody just listening to the show, go to YouTube, Cast and Camo TV. You can see what Fish Stalker is actually showing on the screen, or follow us on Cast and Camo on Twitch, and then you can see it live every week, Sunday night.
I like a little shad wrap, and once again, I'm keyed on and a lot of the gizzard shad stuff around here. Another very, very effective bait this time of year is a jerk bait.
Mm-hmm.
So, any of you jerk bait fishermen out there?
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people use for walleyes up here during the falls. Yeah,
like here's a jerk bait I just got. I know it's Googan. It's my first Googan thing ever. I know a lot of people hate on Googan, but hey, this one was actually, this is called a Junior Scout. So I wanted a jerk bait that was not quite as big. A lot of the other jerk baits that I've used are, a couple inches bigger than this. So I've been looking for one that's smaller, and I found it and I picked it up because
Now, when you're looking at the size of those, are you looking at the size of the lure? Are you looking at the size of the bill? Is it a combination of the two, or what exactly are you looking for?
So like this junior one, right? And there's things you can do to jerk baits to change how deep they are. People will change out hooks. There's you got to look whether it's a floating one or a sinking one.
Right.
You can get jerk baits that can go down pretty deep, right?
Yeah.
And then people will add different hooks or even weights to them sometimes if they really want to fish them deeper. Most of my fish this time of year are pretty shallow. Early on, where it is right now in Texas, you're still going to have those fish that are deep, but you're going to have more of I found, at least here, more of the fish that are going to be active and biting are shallow. But anyway,
and that's where the bait is. That's again,
I'm telling you,
it's the same. It's funny because no matter what the season is, now I'm curious once we move over to Mr. Chief on how things change, if they change for catfish in the fall. The seasons, I would assume they do. But every time when you talk fishing and it's whatever the season is, whether it's spring, summer, fall, it's always match the hatch, find the bait. What bait are they using? And ironically, I've heard now, Fish Stalker, you can correct me if I'm wrong, as a segue to maybe some catfish chat. I heard that in the fall, chicken is the most looked for bait by catfish, which is why you love to use the chicken and why you're really pushing Chief to get that big catfish on that chicken.
Bait.
It's year round. Okay,
it's a year round bait, right?
Okay,
year round.
Yeah, that's true. Chicken is pretty active.
I just want to know when a chicken swam in these.
I know Chief is old school, but I'm telling you, if you could just do a simple search, even on YouTube,
wait a minute,
of like, just don't dare to say like strawberry jello chicken. You're gonna get like thousands of videos, right?
Yeah.
I need you to.
I like garlic chicken. Starlight jello chicken does work. Just chicken. I think it became very popular, if I remember right. There was a very famous catfisherman. I can't remember his name, but he was on Santee Cooper, and he would catch some of his biggest catfish on Santee Cooper on garlic chicken, and that's what made me start doing
garlic chicken.
I think he had like a garlic recipe on chicken. I could be wrong, and I could be completely misguiding, but I swear I heard this along somewhere.
Well, I'm guessing
the way.
We talk about match the hatch. I'm guessing he had some garlic chickens that laid eggs, and that's pretty common, I believe, in the Ohio River. Where Chief is kind of at. That there's a lot of garlic chicken hatches. It's like mayfly hatch For us, it's like the mayfly hatch.
Anyone, even crappie fishermen would know, or if you've gone into a fishing section and you look at scents, garlic is always a scent there. I don't understand why fish like
Every
garlic.
time. Because
but I scent my bass lures and garlic scents when I just they're really, really finicky. I'll have some of those markers that you can color them, and it's a scent. Sometimes I'll do my swim baits. Garlic is just effective. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's strong.
I can't tell you why.
It's strong.
It's strong, and it can be a difference on a really tough day. And Chief,
we have to get him to try it. You got to try it.
Yeah,
you got to try chicken.
Yeah, he's got to try it in a place where there's fish.
I did try it.
No,
he got one bite and he left it out there with no bait on it.
There was
trying it. Trying it was one time is not trying it. Using it one time is just using it. Trying, nobody likes a quitter, Chief. So you got to the little inch of the little chief that could. You got to keep on trying that chicken.
Go out there and catch his PB catfish on chicken, right?
Wait, your birthday is Tuesday, right?
Yeah. So you're gonna go
90 freaking degrees here. No, I'm not fishing with chicken.
All I wanted for my birthday.
Yeah, they're calling for 90 degrees here on Tuesday, so you can
listen. Suck it up, Buttercup.
I'm staying home in the air conditioning and relaxing.
I don't blame you at all.
I don't blame you.
The only difference that I can say about your fall fishing with your catfish and muskies, which that's what I mainly did, was catfish and muskies. But I can tell you, the catfish in the fall time, when the leaves start dropping off the trees, you've kind of changed to where I start fishing shallower water when it's getting about dark. Like a half an hour to dark, almost 2 hours in the dark, and then I will move and go back in the deeper water after that 2 hours. Them fish and closer to shore is always what you want to do when it gets dark. Them fish work them banks all the time at dark time. At night, the catfish do. And I'll tell you, large live bait is a killer for catfish in the fall. Very large live bait, like what you're dealing with down there where you're at fish in the daytime. I'd be fishing all that structure in the daytime. At night, I'd be fishing where it comes out of deep into the shallow water. Wherever you have a ledge, you can get up on that ledge in 2 to 3 foot of water, and you can do tremendous with that. Muskie is a little bit different. Top water for muskie right now, when them leaves start falling, they just tear them up. I just love fall fishing for muskie. I don't even try to use live bait for muskie.
Is that right?
Oh no, I would rather use a lure on muskie year round, and I use different lures, ones that are deep diving, ones that are like 2 inches under the water, certain time of the year, the top water in the fall. It makes a big difference. But then you get that hot weather, like for the catfish and the muskies, where they call it the dog days of summer, where the fish just like stop. They just don't want to really. And if they do pick up your bait, they pick it up and just mouth it and drop it. They don't take it in. And that happens with almost all fish. I think you see bass do that too at certain times of year, where they'll pick up a rubber worm and swim off with it, but not get hooked. You go to set the hook and the worm pops out. The same way with all your fish. They all go through that stage. But
I agree.
Basically on the muskie and the catfish.
It's interesting for me to hear you say in the fall you're going to just use. Now I'm going to talk about the large baits in a little bit, but everything I've heard in Minnesota from muskies is once you hit late August, September, it's get big sucker minnows. Now we're talking big, but live sucker minnows, and just troll very slowly. You know, the speed, it kind of is important. Anytime you're trolling, speed's going to be important. But everybody I talk to that is muskies, if they're not hardcore, it's instantly fall time for muskies, sucker minnows, live bait.
Have you ever trolled for muskies up there?
Yes.
Your motor running
Yes.
running around 4 to 5 mile an hour. With
Yep. Yep.
Fast?
Yep.
For
dang.
for muskie, you can drop them lures in right behind the boat within 20 feet out of the prop wash. Where that prop wash changes is amazing for muskie. Don't put it way out there. You don't want it way out there. You want it right there in that prop wash, right about 20 feet behind your boat. It's amazing how well that works.
Are you just throwing it out there and trolling it? Or are you using why am I drawing a blank on the damn words? The boards, runner board, the boards.
No.
You're not using boards? See, that's how we every time we troll muskies, we're using the boards.
You can do the boards.
Okay.
But if we'll just say you're out there by yourself and you're gonna troll. You're gonna troll around the lake where them weed beds are that you were showing here a couple of weeks ago when you streaming. That was beautiful water where them weed beds were for muskie. That right there, I'd be trolling all around them as much as possible just out of the prop wash. I mean,
It's out of the prop wash. Okay.
you ought to see the explosive action you get right there in that prop. And you would think it would scare every muskie away, but they actually dart in for that prop wash for that lure. I don't know if they
I always think that I try to get as far away from the boat when I'm trolling as possible.
No.
Like,
no. Just anyone that really musky fishes that trolls for them will tell you about 20 feet off the back of that boat, right where that prop wash changes, where it starts.
And then the other muskie fishermen will then make fun of you for trolling for muskies, and they'll call you a pansy because you're not casting for them. I don't disagree.
You know what? I get made fun of all the time here for like trolling for like white bass or anything where these guys are having tough days. And like if I'm having a really, really tough day, I'll put on like a deep diving crankbait and I'll just get the boat going as slow as I can and I control. And they kill it, man. And I don't know why everyone's like, I don't want no more people don't do it, but I'll catch bass, I'll catch catfish.
I don't know why people don't troll with boats anyway.
It was probably close to not the biggest catfish in my life now, but it was over. I didn't have a scale, but it was over a 30-pound flathead that I caught on a 12-pound test in a little shad deep diving crankbait. And I was just trolling by the dam, and this flathead just came. It
doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I've heard a lot of people catch them. I've never caught one on a lure.
I've caught in a couple
people that have caught them on lures. Yes.
I like to hang out by the dam where a lot of the white bass and the crappie and everything like to hang out. So
they're in there for the fish, the bait.
Getting back to the muskies, are you when you're trolling? Well, for any way you're going to fish for muskies, are you in a different set of water, like as far as depths wise? Say,
well,
okay. Let me ask this: is it even worth going for muskies in late May, June, July? Or you just wait until August, September?
No. You definitely want the spring. The spring is usually when I do most of my trolling for muskie.
Okay.
That is.
And what kind of depth of water are you in the spring?
Oh shit! It can be any depth. I mean, if you've got a good weed bed, you can work off of it. You can work in deep water with it too. I mean, I've caught them out of both. It just depends on how the muskies are running in the lake. We had lakes that were mainly musky and northern pike lakes. And what you did, I mean, we could catch them anywhere in the lake, but it was like the springtime, we were trolling a lot. The fall, we're casting with topwater lures, pop lures, all that stuff. It makes a big difference. The middle of summer, you can definitely troll or cast using a lot of jerk baits in the middle of the summer. We would do good in the middle of the summer with jerk baits. But if the water got too hot, they shut down too. They do the same thing. They just won't hit. They'll follow you and turn around like the one you had that followed you. I don't know when that was, but that seems to happen a lot in the middle of summer.
Yeah, that was probably July. I would guess that was July.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily changing where they're at from season to season. It's not
No.
like they're going to be on this type of structure at
No.
this time of year and this type of structure. It's
You want
strictly
to fish, yeah. You want to
Okay.
fish any kind of weed beds, even the deep water out in the middle of the lake. I mean, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter where you're at. As long as you got a good population of muskie and northern pike, you can do good about anywhere in them lakes.
but it's
Where
a
the wind-
difference
let
of
me tell you about the
Yeah,
wind
go ahead.
too.
yeah,
Real
yeah.
quick, if you're fishing in a lake and you have the wind blowing from east to west, if you fish the west end of that lake, you will do better than you would if you fish the east end, because all your bait and everything
Fish.
is pushed to that end. They all go, all your bait, all that stuff goes to that end. So you're fishing like into the wind is basically what you're doing.
Hmm.
Makes a big difference. On
That's
all
a
your
big
fish.
thing for pretty
Doesn't
much
matter
all
what
times of
fish.
year in fish, though. Oh, so you want to fish that wind-blown bank, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people don't really realize why, but I mean, you really want to kind of get into the science of it a little bit. It's
We're getting into the
we're gonna get
science tonight,
into it.
baby.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
So what's happening is why that's better is what's getting blown over there isn't the bait fish, right? It's gonna be the little microorganisms like little plankton or whatever.
Bait fish to go
The
after.
bait fish
and
that are
that's
that's
right.
what they're
exactly
feeding
right.
on.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they're following those over there. It's not actually the bait fish getting blown over there. Just in case you wondered. Not that it really matters. You just know fish the windblown bank and you'll be all right. But I always find it interesting.
So now let's talk catfish. How does that change as the season goes on? Now that we're technically in fall, even though everybody's going to be 90 freaking degrees tomorrow or more, which is ridiculous. But we are technically in fall, and I want to talk a little bit about how that with walleye, how these temperature changes actually impact it in a negative way, like most everything. But catfish, fall catfish. Do you change baits? Do you just is it same bait, bigger bait?
I'm going to tell
What's the
you,
difference?
I'm 100% shad and skipjack person. I mean, that's. And
Don't
I
hit on a
use
little
them both
bluegill.
live and bluegill. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Bluegill.
All right.
I've used bluegill. I've used crappie.
Chicken.
I've used no. No, I have used chicken now because you made me.
Yeah, but you used it once. I mean,
I
it wasn't.
promised you I would do a chicken dance on this stream if I would have caught a fish.
You went to where you didn't catch a fish on your other stuff either. So it's not really a true. You can't catch fish if they're not there.
The junk fish did not want your chicken.
Hot car on chicken.
I mean, I brought in a gar off of my cut bait, but I did not bring in a gar or have a hit on your chicken, except I'm telling you, I think I know what it was. I think it was a turtle. I think your
Well,
chicken.
the turtle. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Turtles love chicken.
Yeah.
That's what
I've
you're
got
trying to get me to do is catch a turtle.
Well, why should I be the only one? All right. Look,
That's
to
like
be
the
a better
worst.
sportsman, you have to be comfortable with unhooking a turtle. If you're gonna be catfishing or carp fishing, you got to know how to unhook a turtle. At least here in Texas. All right. And you got to know which turtles are the good turtles and which turtles are the mean turtles that you really need to work out for. So little red-eared ones or yellow-eared ones you've seen a lot of the ponds and lakes around here that probably got released from the aquarium or something. Those are pretty chill. I mean, every time like I've unhooked them and then put them like those, like you turn them upside down. Here, tricks of the trade because I'm the turtle guy. Turn them upside down. They're just gonna chill, right? I mean, the little red ears, they're chill. You unhook them, put them back over. A lot of times they'll chill with you on the bank for a little bit before they decide to leave, right? They're fine.
Tea and
Soft shell
crumpets.
turtles are the devil.
Oh well,
Those
yeah.
things are mean. They got claws and they got like long necks. So if you flip them on their back, they're gonna take that long neck and flip them back over, and they're gonna try to eat you. So
Eat
you
your
got to be
eyes.
really careful, and then their claws will scratch you. So like they're
What
scratch,
kind of
scratch.
snapping turtles do you have there at your lake?
So we do have alligator snapping
That's
turtles
what I was
around
gonna
here.
ask.
Those are so
So-
cool though.
They
Yeah.
are absolutely so impressive to see. I luckily, knock on wood, have not caught an alligator snapping turtle, but I've seen them I mean, we're talking, gigantic
We caught-
turtles.
We caught one.
They will snap your finger off.
We
Like-
caught one 130 pounds at a fish event in northern Florida. And they
So-
took that turtle and made turtle soup for our event out of it. And I'm going to tell you what, it was amazing. The guy knew what
Never eaten turtle.
Oh,
I'm gonna
it
be
was
honest.
amazing. They say it's like 7 different types of meat in a turtle.
I've heard that.
I can't tell.
You know why they say that? Now comes Chef Vexus. Here it comes. They tell you that because they chop up the turtle and then they move the turtle over to the side and they bring in actually good meat and put that into the soup. And they say, here you go, turtle soup.
So, I think there's actually a process. For some reason, my TikTok algorithm is really screwed up. There's a guy that is, he's gone out and caught these, like turtles, right? I think they were soft shells. I'm not sure which they were. Big old turtles. And before he cooks them, he like puts them in a bucket of water each day and he purges the turtles because every day, like they'll start purging everything for at least 7 days before they'll even cook them.
They put this one in salt water. I don't know. They sit it in like a salt water. After they took the shell off and cut the meat off, they soaked it in salt water overnight. And we had it, I think, the next day. He started
Wasn't
making it
purged.
in a big. No, they didn't. But it was good. I'm going to tell you, the guy did a heck of a job with it.
Like I love gator. I mean, if it's anything like gator,
See, I've never tried gator yet.
gator's
Oh,
good.
that's one
Gator
thing
is
I definitely
good.
want to try.
Even my wife,
in my
who's a
freezer.
very
I need to
picky
make
meat
up.
eater, likes gator. It's a very lean meat, and
That's very
it-
white.
It's
Yeah.
very white, and if you
Yeah.
like, it does too well with the seasoning, right? You can't go wrong deep frying it and like dipping it in like a jalapeno sauce. But there's it really takes the seasoning well. And go back, yeah.
So far off
Turkey,
topic.
yeah.
That's okay. I don't even
Okay,
remember how we got on this topic.
Fishing. I mean, it is
Fishing. I mean, people
I
catch
mean, it-
gators on
turtles.
fishing poles,
turtles, gators.
so
Yeah.
it's legal, right? I mean,
Well, I
Is
don't know.
is catching gators, is that fishing? They call it fishing.
where does that fall? Does gator? Is it fishing or hunt? It's hunting.
It's
in
for
the,
their hunting license, to be honest
You
with
need your hunting license
Yeah,
to take
I
the
don't-
gator.
It's not a fishing license.
But
no.
does
but
it
they
count
call
as
it
like fishing before you're hunting if you're throwing a big old treble hook
Yeah,
and like
well,
snagging it
well,
and then
I
bringing it
don't-
in? Because that's a legit way that some people.
sometimes
Get
they
their
shoot
gators.
them gators and go over and cast on them and hook them and bring them in.
I've seen
Yes.
where they cast out with the treble hook and they
Yup.
hook it while it's live, and then they'll bring it all the way in either to the boat or to the shore,
And
and
they,
then they'll
I think Louisiana, and I don't know if Texas is part of this or not, but Big Anthony just brought it up there in our chat room that they do have tags, and you can get so many tags for gators, especially these guys that trap these gators that go after them. They get so many tags, like 100 tags for the year or whatever. So yeah, that's
it's definitely you need a tag, and it's definitely considered hunting. But I'm saying like
Yeah.
if you're casting out for it and snagging it and fighting it with the fishing pole, does it count as the first part of fishing that turns into a hunting trip? Because I mean, if you mess it up, you're going to be hunted. That sucker's
Yeah.
turning around and getting you. I'm just saying, I don't know.
If we really want to know the ins and outs of Louisiana and Louisiana gator hunting, we can just go right to the Louisiana expert, which is Gamer Mama from Chief
Or Mama,
Fox's
where you
Chats.
at out here?
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
She's the Louisiana expert, so we could just ask her
yeah
for
should
certain.
kill us.
Hey, Kelly
Maybe.
Cakes in chat. Yeah, the people only use the 22. There's like a little tiny spot on the top of their head. You got to hit it. You don't need a big caliber weapon. Like if you ever seen, Swamp People. Such an interesting. Yeah, we'll just have Troy Landry on. Hey,
Yeah.
Troy, if you're out there, you want to
Yeah,
come on?
Troy.
We'd love to have you.
Call us.
He would be an amazing guest.
What he would, because you wouldn't be able to understand a single word the man said. You could ask him a
If you
question.
cared, I'd be like, yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be great. It'd be
I'd
like,
be in.
yeah.
I'm in for it.
Meanwhile, he's laughing. He's like, I just explained how to kill a man, and you
Seems
guys
like
are
such
laughing
an
and
amazing
nodding your
guy
head.
too. I mean, it'd be great.
It's like
We
the,
can
it's
have
like the
Gamer
football
Mama
coach
on,
from.
and she can translate for him.
Oh.
I can't believe you just said that.
Lord, I apologize.
Oh,
He's gonna get him.
she's gonna get you. She's gonna
No
get
one
you.
tells her that we're talking about her in here,
I
So
went there. I'm sorry.
or you two
in
will be in trouble tomorrow morning.
I'm an angel. I got
I
Halo.
live my life in trouble. All right.
So I'm gonna ask a question because I know the answer, at least from the Minnesota, the northern hemisphere standpoint, for like my kind of what I fish for, with being walleye. When we have a fall like we have had, late summer, fall like we're having, where it's, as Chris Farley says, El Nino, it's Spanish for the Nino. And we get these streaks of super hot weather like we're getting right now. How have you guys noticed in your history of where you're fishing at in the geographical areas of the United States, these heat waves having any impact on the activity of the fish? Because since we are at the fall and the bait is migrating differently, they're going to migrate differently based on that temperature of the water. And if we get consistently 80s to 90s to 90 plus, have you guys ever noticed a difference in your fishing in the fall with hot weather?
100%.
Walleye?
No, just
Well,
in
for
just in
any-
general. Yeah, just in general.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. It shuts them down when you get into this hot weather.
They're just not as active, or they're active for very short periods of time.
Usually early in the mornings or late at night, right when it turns dark.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, those are definitely the
two
witching
prime
hours, I
times.
call it.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell like one of the I love chasing around white bass and hybrids this time of year. And one of the things that really like I said, most of the time I'm chasing around because they're chasing the gizzard shad. What's going to cause these gizzard shad to go up and spawn and get even close to the shore is the water temperature. If I remember, I'm going to have to go back and look at my stuff, but I think it's somewhere around when it gets to 58 degrees, something flips and they go in. And then that's where you can consistently find them there. Like water temperature plays a big role.
huge part. Yep. And with walleye, that's exactly what happens when we have weather like we've been having, this warm weather in the fall. It causes complete chaos and havoc with the walleye. It just scatters the fish. There's no patterns. They need that temperature, and ideally you need that temperature at 60 degrees or less before those fish are going to be schooled up in the fall. As far as walleye go, before that, you're going to be, if you're fishing for walleye and that water temperature is still over 60, you're going to be covering a lot of water. You're going to be trying everything in your tackle box, and you might find a fish here or there, but you're going to be spending the entire day trying to find a fish here or there.
Let me ask you something on your walleye real quick.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know your lakes up there. I've been through your state, but I never really paid attention. Your lakes
Are pretty
you
wet
have
up here.
mainly all streams that are feeding them, or rivers
It
that are
depends.
feeding your lakes.
It depends.
Where I was from, like Kinzua area, we would fish for walleye in the upper streams in the springtime. They would run up that stream. In the riffles and that, we could catch walleye quite often. I don't know if you guys have that opportunity where you're at and whether it works or not in the spring, but it was like big back in Pennsylvania for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on some lakes are going to be spring fed, some lakes are going to be river fed, some lakes are neither. They're basically glacial.
Pounds.
Yep, glacial lakes. There's a chain of glacial lakes in South Dakota that is absolutely amazing fishing. But yeah, it just kind of depends on what you're going to find, and depending on the time of year and temperature of the water is where you're going to find the walleye. In the fall, you're going to be looking for boulders, rock structures, any deep structures. The odd thing is, even in the summer or spring, you're going to be looking for boulders and rock structures. That's where the walleye are going to be hanging out, or the mud flats. Again, in the summer, your mud flats are going to be better because that's where they're looking for that bait, that stuff, that crap coming out of the mud. But yeah, deep rocky structures in the fall for walleye, especially once that water temperature gets below 60 degrees. That's where it's money. And you're going to be using, going back to what you were saying earlier, it's a lot similar to what you're saying, Chief. Fall walleye, big, big, big. The bigger, the better. They are size queens in the fall. Big baits, slow your trolling down, go big and go slow, and make sure, and we're saying it again, the thermocline, watch that thermocline. In Minnesota, thermocline is everything. Every lake, well, not every lake, but most of our lakes are going to be impacted by the thermocline. It's just our weather. That's why we have ice. You know, Texas, you have thermocline, but you don't have ice. You don't get ice formed on your lakes. We do, and it's all due to that thermocline. That makes that determination of where those fish are going to be depth wise, and what you're going to be using for them.
You know what? I'm going to give something away that I think that's maybe even controversial about what a lot of us, like outdoor content creators, a lot of people kind of get angry at us sometimes because we're kind of an open book, right? If you're new to an area or you just want to get knowledge, a simple Google search. If you go, like, I've learned a lot. You can learn. There's tons of fishing forums out there. A lot of the lakes, like my local lakes here, have, like, it's not every week, but it's at least every other week or so. Some of the fishing guys will give a fishing report. This information that they're giving out can be invaluable. You're not going to get, hey, this is where you need to go, right? We're catching them exactly on this bait, or they're going to give you a general idea of what they're using and a depth range. Or, hey, we're catching them out on, points or whatever. You're not going to find a thing, but you can take that information, right? And then you can try to replicate that when you go out. And that can save you a lot of time, at least narrowing it down, right? You're like, okay, well, they say they're catching between this bait. Well, let me throw baits that are at this depth. Or, I know there's some structure over here. Let me go check. Use your internet resources. It's a big controversy in the fishing industry right now because there's these apps out there that will mark exactly where all the fish are caught, what they used, all that. And there's a lot of people that are angry that people pay X amount of money a month and get all the information that people have spent their life.
Yep.
They thought they had their secret spot, or, years and hours of, time on the water and figuring it out. And so a lot of people get kind of angry at those apps, or, I heard that a lot. I don't know if we want to talk about this boating etiquette. With the invention of the side scan, you will piss some people off if they see you on a fish and then you know what they're doing and there's nothing you can do. They're sitting there and someone's gonna come by you and just be side scanning the whole way. We're like, okay, market it on there, got your spot, right?
Live scope just makes it that much more interesting.
And I don't know about here, like one of the lakes where my boat's at is a huge, it's known for crappie. And I swear I'm seeing more and more of those live scopes. And it's like, I call it like video game fishing because I'm completely jealous. If I had one, I'd use it. I mean, it's just like you pull up to the spot, you can see either it's going to cut down, like you can see it. I mean, they're expensive. There's like, what, $3,000 to get a system, something like that. I don't make that kind of money. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is where I'm a little jealous of you Southerners, because you don't have to worry about a setup for the summer and a setup for the winter. For us, live scope, you need your live scope in the summer, and then you need your live scope in the winter, which of course is two different setups.
You know what I've always wanted to do? And I think there's ways to do it, is take one of those live scopes and adapt it to be able to take it onto a dock with you. Cause like I have my boat out the marina and put it down in those boat slips and be able to have portable and see the fish on the brush piles in there and have your live scope right there. I mean, I think
you just
essentially it's an ice fishing setup, right? But
yeah,
I mean,
just
I've
mount
seen
it
some with magnets and all
dock.
kinds of ammo cans and all kinds of stuff. But I think that would be really cool. Sorry.
Live scope in general is cool.
Yeah, it is.
But it's going back to your point, trying to talk about fall walleye. I'm gonna say big water, big baits. Small water, different baits, crankbaits, glide baits, things like that. If you're fishing for walleye in a small targeted area, I'm not giving any spots. I'm not going to tell anybody where to go, but I can tell you this is what you should learn if you're fishing walleye in the fall on big water, whether it's any of the big lakes that we have here in Minnesota that are known for the walleye. You're going to be using big chubs, big shads, big suckers, trolling them slow versus throwing glide baits.
Just to show you guys like
Now,
my
what about full moons? I'm sorry, what did you say?
I don't
Fish?
do much night fishing anymore.
Full moons are great for topwater lures.
Great for topwater. And if you're
Right.
that's when those black topwater lures come into.
Fantastic for
I mean,
topwater
you get
lures.
a jitterbug or
Like the
Popper
moon that we've
plopper.
just been having the past couple nights. I don't know
Yep.
what it's at right now, but I think we're close to a full moon, or are we not? Right?
It might have been last night or yeah, it's
Either last night or tonight, I
Yeah.
think, is the full moon.
yep.
Yeah.
I could give you all a
Amazing.
cheat code if you want to know like this time of year for bass or especially white bass or hybrids or anything. 3-inch.
With
These
the
are the
moon
power
cycles?
bait. These pre-rigged swim baits.
Oh, there you go.
They're a 1/4 ounce, pre-rigged. White is my favorite, but they come in a bunch of different colors from perch color to anything. I can catch 25 fish on this one when you're out there before you have to retie it. The action, I don't know why these paddle tails from Berkeley are my favorite pre-rigged power bait or pre-rigged swim baits, bar none. I have caught probably thousands of fish this time of year on this style bait right here.
Humble brag.
Humble brag. But yeah, no, it's fun. Anyone can do it. Just go out there and feel what you're doing. Like throw it out there. You found the bait fish, right? But I'm one of these and do it slow. Like I like this a lot of times more than like say some of the baits that have like treble hooks, right? Because this is going to get caught a lot less if you're around structure or anything. And you don't have to be if you're catching volumes of fish, having one hook to take out instead of 3 to 6
Yep.
is just better. But yeah, I would highly recommend if you've never tried these Berkeley 3-inch pre-rigged 1/4 ounce paddle tails. Sometimes you can find them on sale pretty cheap. Since COVID, everything's gone up in price. But I think it comes in like a pack of 5 or 6. You don't have to worry about, hey, I got a jig head and I'm putting it on straight. If you don't, it's gonna swim not quite right.
Mm.
And if I'm using one of those and they're not 100% on it, feel free. Like I like the white ones because I don't know if you guys have seen those scent markers that do colors. You can paint it chartreuse and
Yep.
have a garlic scent, or you can put a black dot on it. I mean, you can make those white ones customized any way you want.
Put a big
yeah.
FS on them.
I could, yeah.
Good. That'd
That
be kind of badass. Yeah,
those are
I
little
just
tail
want
spins are really good too.
to point out one thing from chat, and just a friendly reminder to anybody watching on YouTube or listening just to the audio. We are live on Twitch. Cryptic is talking about, I'm going to paraphrase, just because somebody has a live scope or just because somebody has a spot or you say go fish over there doesn't mean they're actually going to be able to catch fish, which is it's a good point to make. And that's a lot of people that are, I'm not going to say pro live scope, but they'll say just because it shows me where the fish are doesn't make them bite any more or better than for anybody else, which is true. You still need
But
the art of
I'm
catching
still
the
gonna
fish.
say when it comes to crappie fishing, I haven't seen it for bass or walleye or anything else. And I don't do ice fishing because it doesn't freeze like that here.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It's either whether just to narrow down where they're at, you can pull up. You're like a lot of times we're fishing like submerged timber here or brush piles, so you can pull up to the tree. Me, I don't have live scope. I'm gonna have to work that tree for at least 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I don't got a bite. Go on. Live scope goes on, puts it down. I don't see any fish. I'm gone. Right
Yeah.
until you find the fish, and then you're like, okay, I see the fish. Okay, look, it's coming up. Hey, look, here's my lure. It's coming up. I'm gonna put it like right in front of its face. Boom. Okay.
It's and again, we're referring to somebody in chat cops got your dope. It's an advantage, not a guarantee, which is true, but it's a time saver, right?
I want one. I'm not hating.
It's a time saver. You like Fish was just saying, he's casting at that log for 5 to 10 minutes versus putting down the live scope, looking and saying nothing there, moving on to the next spot. It's a time savings. It doesn't make the fish bite. Just because you find the fish doesn't make them bite. Definitely.
Kelly Cakes in chat wants to know if I any interest in ice fishing. Yes, I would love to go glamping one day and go ice fishing in one of those sweet ice condos they have out there. Yeah, I'll go glamping, ice fishing. I think it would be awesome. I would love to make it up there one of these days to like IceCon, what you guys got going, but it's just not. I've never been in the financial cards because I'm in Texas and I got to fly and all that.
Yeah,
Life, right.
Ice castles. So the terminology, most people will call them ice castles. Ice castle. It's a little misleading. Ice castle is a brand. It's not a type of house. It's just a brand of a fish house for ice fishing. Cops wants to.
I've never caught a perch, and I swear.
Oh, really?
I've never caught a perch, and I really wanted to catch one of those when I was in Michigan, and that was the only species I wanted to catch that I didn't. We couldn't find any perch. Caught tons of bluegill and rockfish and pike and bass.
You need to go to like
No perch. I want to eat perch. I hear
you
the
need to
taste.
go to like
They
Lake
are
Erie
delicious.
or something like that for the perch fishing. It's amazing.
I love all kinds of fishing. I don't care how big or small. If they're smaller, I just get a little smaller rod, little light tackle. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Well, if you come up here ice fishing, you ain't bringing your bass rods. I can tell you that.
Oh,
That's
no.
not going to work.
I do have little dock crappie rods. I mean, but yeah, no, I don't have anything.
That's not going to work. So I'm going to throw this out there. So we've been talking fall fishing all night. For the most part, we've gone off on a few tangents. The difference for me with fall fishing and why people get excited about it is, A, it's the last chance for most people in the country to fish. Well, I shouldn't say that. You guys can fish all year round down there. It's just maybe a little bit colder.
Stars and stripes, baby. We get open water all year.
Yeah,
but it sucks in the summer. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
it's miserable. Our lakes are down at least 5.5 feet right now. We need rain bad. And it's been hot and miserable and muggy. And I'm over
send some of our rain down to you. My backyard is a lake right now. It's crazy.
No, ours are low. They're really low, which affects it.
Talking about fall fishing, and we've referred to the terminology of thermocline a number of times. Do we know what thermocline is? Do we understand what thermocline is? I'm asking Chief, I'm asking Fish, I'm asking chat. Do we understand? We can talk about it. Now, if you want to get super technical, thermocline, if you take you break the word down, thermal equals heat, and cline actually means the degradation of layers, a layer of degradation. And what you have, and why thermocline becomes such a topic in the fall, is you have, and I don't have any visuals, and my fingers or my hands are going to be the visuals, but you've got that top layer of water that is interacting with the sun, making that surface temperature warmer. And and this is going to bodies of water that don't necessarily have a lot of movement. Although the ocean does have thermocline, we could talk about that later if anybody wants to learn about thermocline of the ocean. But you have that top layer of water, and then you have your thermocline. It's almost like a little blanket that separates the warm water up top and the cold water down below. The cold water is dense; it's gonna sink, right? So thermocline in lakes, you'll hear a lot of people, especially in the northern parts of the country, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about turnover, a lake turning over. And if you don't know anything about fishing, you're going to say, what do you mean? You're talking about football?
Horrible.
You're talking about football? Turnover? Somebody threw an interception? No. And for us, turnover is a wonderful thing. in Minnesota, because what happens is as we go further and further into the fall, and the temperature ideally starts to come down further and further, the sun and the days are shorter, so the sun's not warming that surface temperature of the water up as much as it was in the summer, and that water temperature at the surface is starting to cool down and cool down and cool down, and eventually water starts to cool down, that thermocline gets smaller and smaller because that temperature of that water. And all of a sudden, when you have turnover, and it's not going to take a month, it's going to take a matter of 2 days for this to happen, that thermocline just disappears. And as that water starts to get cooled down, it starts to move down. And then an amazing thing happens. It actually flip-flops. It's a complete contrast of what you'd think. That water that's now cooled off from the surface stays dense, goes back up to the top. That's when you get ice starting to form, because that thermocline is gone. There's no more thermocline in those lakes. And that matters big time for fishing in the fall, because that's going to determine, like we've been saying for pretty much the whole night, that's going to determine where those bait fish are going. Where are our fish that we're trying to catch chasing those baits? And that's good. Those baits are going to migrate depending on that water temperature. Makes a huge difference. So that's the science of it. And if you want to get super technical, that act of that water, watch, I'm going to blow your freaking mind, fish. That act of that water cooling down from the water to the surface and going down, it's juxtaposition. It's called juxtaposition. That's the technical term, which there's other terms, but juxtaposition just sounds super cool. So I'm going to say juxtaposition.
But seriously, no, we was talking about the thermocline. If you don't know, if you've seen, you can actually see this on your fish finders, right?
Correct.
You're gonna see like a little line. Most fish finders, you don't even need fancy live scope, which apparently you can see it really good on there. But you can just have regular fish finders, you'll see it. And what I'm gonna tell you, if most of your fish, pretty much all of them are gonna be above the thermocline. So I would say, at least 3 feet or so above that thermocline is where I would start fishing. If you're out there fishing, you see that thermocline, and especially if you're trolling or doing whatever, or you're casting, you're trying to target a target above the thermocline, because I believe that Cops was talking about it's less oxygen down there, or so
it's all about the oxygen.
It's all about the oxygen, right? So these fish are going to be above it, so that anything below it, you can pretty much just don't waste your time. And the turnover, like he was saying, is really good. I like after the turnover when it's done, but when you're in a body of water and you'll start seeing a bunch of crap on the surface, and it destroys fishing while it's going on. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've had any luck. Up here, it destroys the fishing. I mean,
but the one thing to point out, you can still catch fish during those couple days of that thermocline disappearing. And another, I think, important aspect when you're talking about thermocline is every lake is going to be different. And even on that, if you're fishing a specific lake, that lake is going to be different from one spot to another. So you could be on the north side of the lake or the south side of the lake, and it might be more shallow, whatever it might be, the difference. And that thermocline is maybe going to disappear quicker or at a different pace or earlier than another spot. So you can fish one side of the lake, technically, or potentially you're fishing one side of the lake post turnover, and which means you have to change your lures, change the way your methods, change how you're doing things, zip across the lake on the boat where there's still a thermocline there, and go back to your normal summer patterns. It's that's why I think it's super important to understand the difference of where the fish are when there's thermocline and when there's not after it's turned over, because it's going to determine how you're fishing. Your techniques have to change if you want to catch fish.
If you're like me and you just love topwater and you're fishing on topwater, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is my favorite time of year for topwater. You don't have to worry about it, right?
And you also don't have to worry about it if you're in Chief Fox's neck of the woods, really, because if you're fishing in those rivers are constantly moving. So that oxygen, those oxygen levels and those water temperatures are constantly churning. They're mixing. they don't have that level of that thermocline separating the warm and the cooler water.
I meant to bring this up earlier. So just go back to bass fishing this time of year. This is usually around the time of year once it starts getting a little cooler. I don't know if there's any other bass fishers, just me. I start transitioning to more of like a beaver style bait instead of like those big worms that you may be using in the summer. I'll be throwing a lot more like the beaver style baits instead of like the big Cincos. Because those a lot of times they're going to mimic like bluegill or shad or anything like that. Or if you have lakes that have grass, you can use those to punch through. Just throwing that out there. Sorry, I meant to bring that up earlier. And
because I have a question that brings up. When you say beaver lures, are they shorter? Like, are they? When you refer to a beaver lure, what makes it a beaver lure? Is it shorter and thicker? Or
beaver? I use like beaver style or like crawfish style. I could go grab some. I don't think I have any on me right now.
Fine, that's fine. I was just because you were talking about kind of the lengths. I was wondering if it was
bug style. Like it's more fat and shorter than a long.
Yeah.
There are some mimic crawfish. Some might look like not look like a bluegill, but they might think it's a bluegill, right?
Thank you, Kelly. That's Kelly Cakes was saying fat paddle style, and that's in my head. That's what I'm picturing.
Right.
Yeah, thick with 3 C's, I believe.
They're thick.
That's what I thought. Well, cool. So if you're fishing walleye in the fall, look for the thermocline. That's the moral of the story. You use big baits, slow down, look for rocks, boulders, deep structures, wait for those temperatures to get sub 60, and you're going to find clusters of walleye. They're going to be, here's my Vex's promise. The walleye are going to be jumping into your boat. You're barely going to have to even fish for them. They're just going to be so thick. They're going to be jumping into your boat, kind of like the Asian carp. That's how it is. That's how we roll with the thermocline. Whoop, whoop.
I actually had a question for you or anyone in chat. This is a style bait that I personally, this time of year, I really do like doing a lot of white bass or hybrids, or if they had stripers, I'd be doing it. The same deal. This is a style bait that we have a lot over here, and I don't know if it's like a very common bait around everywhere, but we call them like silver dollars. I don't know if you guys have them, but essentially they're just like, it's like a jig, right? Like with lead, right? So this one's white. You can jig it under the bottom because a lot of time this year, a lot of the fish are schooled up, right? You can cast them out, reel them in, depending on the weight. Like, I don't know if you guys have them.
Is there an eyelet on the top or just the nose?
Yeah, no, some of them do. Like this one has an eye. Some are just, and you can get molds for them and make them yourself.
I would call that a jigging wrap.
Okay, like these are really
Chief, do you use something like that?
So many hybrids and white.
No, I never use them. Very, very seldom did I ever.
And those are what you're showing now. And for those that are not watching the video,
cast out and you can jig it up. Cast out, jig it up.
Those look like mini spoons which we use in the winter for crappies. And I think Chief said earlier, it kind of looks like that one looked like a miniature daredevil. It's just a spoon with a treble hook on it.
Yeah, and they come in all different sizes. I mean, and then summer like that shape, and chartreuse is good. Like I don't know. I was just wondering because I know that they're pretty common around here for either sand bass or hybrids, and they're relatively cheap, so you don't cry compared to losing a.
We used to use the daredevil walleye a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was one of the top lures for walleye fishing.
You throw those daredevils out there and just troll. Northern pike love them too.
The red ones.
It blows my mind that you can just cast those out and reel in and they'll work too. I don't understand why. It's just a hunk of lead with a little paint on it. But
and for whatever reason, for at least I don't know, Chief. I don't know for your experiences. My experiences with the daredevils, red and white daredevil for pike, it was
amazing.
It was automatic. And what's really interesting is when I'm in the winter, when I'm ice spearing, you can get all these super fancy decoys that look realistic, that look like an actual perch or bluegill or whatever it might be. But the best, hands down, the best decoy that you can use is red and white. Split right down the
Really?
head. The head is red, the body is white. That's all you need.
I was
And
just
it'll
watching one
produce
of your
more.
videos tonight before we started of you spearing, and you had a red and white lure down there.
Yep.
That's when I would be turning an American flag into it and just
I mean, you
it's
could.
America.
Yeah,
And
you
I think
could.
that would work, right? I mean, red and white, blue. I mean, we're
I'm gonna get some red, white, and blue teaser balls for spearing this year. That's no, the spearing lures.
okay. I just got a little uncomfortable. We were talking about balls for a second. And then I
No,
realized
they're
what
called
we're talking
teaser
about.
balls. Topic for ice fishing show.
I really want to. I've always wanted. Honestly, I've always wanted to go ice fishing, but I've never lived at a place that you could. And like I said, driving out on the ice, sounding like from someone, it sounds like scare the crap out of me. I'd do it, but it just doesn't seem
Well,
like
we
you
would-
should be doing it.
We would
I
be
mean-
safe. I would keep you safe. I like my life, which means I'm not going to put my life at risk just to pull a practical joke on you. How about
Haha, I got you. We just fell through the ice.
that? Yeah, right. Yeah,
The worst practical joke ever.
yeah. Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm Rick James.
I'm Rick James.
Now we're both
I
dead.
did it for the clicks. Anything for
Exactly.
the clicks. That's content. Oh.
Do either of you have any other tips, tricks, or guidelines, or anything you want to talk about as far as fall fishing topic? And my last words would be, at least in our neck of the woods, if you want really good fall fishing, get some warm clothes, get some gloves, get a hat, because the best fishing in Minnesota is going to be when there is frost and ice on your gunnel. Hands down. That's what best fishing is going to be. We do have a question from Chat Moose asking, would you rather fish on a lake or a river? I'm a lake all the way, because that's where my experience is. So I don't know. I don't know
Wherever I can
rivers.
fish, I'm fishing. I don't care.
Fuzzer says yes.
Yes, I'm saying yes.
Yeah,
I'll fish both, but
Yeah,
if I had a
both
choice,
are-
I'm taking a lake.
See, I would take the
Depends
river.
during. I think
If
I
was
think during the
catfishing, I
summer,
would take the
I
river.
would rather fish a river or a creek just because of the moving water. A lot of the bait fish will move up there. Or they just, I mean, because it's not going to get as hot.
True.
Welcome in.
Wait, can
Welcome
we
in,
take a
Crochet.
second? Welcome in, Crochet. I hope you're doing. If you all didn't know, if you're here in Twitch, Crochet's all our fishing community's grandma. We love you. Hope you're doing great. I'm glad
That's
you
right.
found us. All right, sorry.
Well, actually, now that I brought that up, I'm going to ask you guys because we kind of have, well, screw the coasts. Who cares about the coasts? There's always that East Coast
Wow.
bias. There's always the East Coast.
Wow.
I'm joking, but we have kind of that.
Hi
we
guys,
have
thanks
the
for coming. I
central-
hate you. Well, that's a way to get people to stay here. Screw you guys.
We have the central section of the United States covered between Minnesota, Kentucky, Texas, right? We've got the Midwest, upper Midwest, Midwest, and the South Midwest, right? I can't say the Southwest because that would be California. Colder, the better. Is that true for you guys where you live? Colder, the better in the fall?
I would say cooler is the better. Yes.
Cooler.
And I can tell you, January and February is amazing for blue cats.
Really?
Yeah, amazing. Blue cats are, and that's when you catch the real big
That's when I
hogs.
caught my big ones. Was January.
January,
because-
February, that if you can get yourself into a river system or a lake that has blue cats, that it doesn't have ice, you're going to tear up blue cats. And they'll be all big ones too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Good to know. Like I said, for us, we got a big Fat Daddy raid from Point Blank 43
Blank,
folks.
thank you.
Welcoming everybody. And those of you that are watching or listening on YouTube, we got the Twitch raid. If you don't know what a Twitch raid is, come check us out on Twitch every Sunday night, 7:00 Central, Cast and Camo. You can also check out Chief Fox TV on Twitch. You can check out Fish Soccer on Twitch. And if you once you're thoroughly entertained, come on over and check out Vexus_X to put you to sleep and get bored out of your mind.
Hey, Vexus has that ASMR content down.
Yeah. Should I start licking the microphone now? No, I'm not going to do that.
Put your hands away.
The H&T. The H&T show.
Yeah, right. Well, so talking about, I was brought up full moons. I do, of course, I'm trying to wrap things up, and then I realized that I have other questions in my head. And welcome in, everybody. We're glad to see you. We're talking fall fishing tonight. The moon cycles, I was just supposed to go fishing last night. Now, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because we've been talking about thermoclines. We've been talking about water temperatures being a key. We've been talking about how pretty much everywhere, when you have hot, warm weather patterns in the fall, it really messes with the fish and the patterns of the fish. And I think just from watching people streaming fishing on Twitch over the last month, 2 months, 3 months, even probably all summer, the fish have just been kind of wonky, kind of weird, kind of different, because the water temperatures are kind of wonky and kind of different and weird. What I want to know is your thoughts. Probably, Chief, actually, I'm gonna direct it right to you. If I know a full moon, we call it in Minnesota, I don't know if you guys all call it, like this moon that we just had, we call it a harvest moon, because most of the farmers are harvesting through the night because they can see better, right? It's harvest moon, big old full moon. Fishing is the best, especially walleye. You can throw from the shore, big baits, and just sit and wait. Then you mix that good fishing and you put it with shitty weather, warm water. You've got two conflicting things going on. One should produce fish, one is going to deter fish. Which one wins?
The warm water always wins against us. It doesn't matter what that moon does. I'm telling you, if you have the hot water, it ain't going to help one bit. Now, if that water temperature was in the 50s, 60s, be a whole different ballgame. Different ballgame.
If I would have gotten the phone call yesterday saying, "Hey, are we still going up to do moonlight fishing tonight?" I would have been like, "No." Because the water temperature up there is still probably 76 degrees. It's nowhere near 59. And I knew that was going to be your answer, but I kind of wanted to confirm it. It's that water temperature,
and
when it's that water temperature means everything.
We got to get Chief to go out there and do some carp fishing on the river. Those things bite year round, buddy. I'm telling you.
Those carps is still here, but we have a lot of carp in our rivers.
Tell you, they are so fun to catch.
We have some big carp. I mean, huge carp.
You have a blast. You already have the gear.
I never fish for them.
I haven't before. Look, you never fish for something until you try it, and then you catch it, and then you're
I used to when I was a kid. We used to fish the Ohio River. That's when I lived in Pennsylvania. We lived right beside the Ohio River up there, too. And we fished for carp all the time. But since I've moved to Kentucky, I've never fished for carp.
A lot of people don't. I'm trying to get the message out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for you. Especially with us, like a lot of times during the summer and around a lot of places right now, it's been a particularly miserable summer. You can still go out there and catch carp in Buffalo. You're a higher percentage of catching them than say the bass or anything else when the bite is just tough. I like to mix it up and throw some of those trips in there. And you can get all the bait from the local grocery store. You're good.
It's I think you can get the best bait for carp at the grocery store in the poultry section. Is that correct, Fish Soccer? Am I speaking?
No, but while you're at the poultry section, you can get some chicken that's on clearance and put in there for the catfish. But
well, let me ask you: do your carp? When's the carp slack off on biting? Does cold water stop them from
I catch carp in the cold. I catch carp in the heat.
I didn't know if they were, because I know they're more of a warm water fish.
Sure, there are more ideal things, but I catch them year round when it's really cold out there or really hot. And You know what's surprising me? A lot of you people may not know. Like if you have around here, there's a lot of like little community fishing ponds. A
Mhm.
lot of those have carp in them, and no one fishes them for them. So you can go out there and you just throw it out. The only way to find out and check, or sometimes you go out there and you see them. You can catch massive carp in some of these smaller ponds.
Do you want to explain a little bit about your bait that you guys all like? I watch all you guys fishing that are in this 5x5 or whatever. I think I'm saying it right. You guys all have the same kind of bait on. What is that?
There are a lot of different style of baits, but I'll tell you what I use because it's just a generic one that works for pretty much anywhere in the country you can go. You can get these ingredients and you can catch carp. My go-to is panko breadcrumbs. Some people use like oats and other things in theirs. There's a lot of different variations. There's some peanut butter ones. But mine is panko breadcrumbs, strawberry jello,
Strawberry, yes.
and sweet corn. That's it.
We used to use like meal.
I'm not saying that's
Meal?
the only one or the best,
Meal deal?
but it's what I use and I've had a lot of luck on.
We called it dough ball. That's what we did as kids. My granddad would make it, and we'd use strawberry jelly in it or cherry jelly or whatever.
Fruity,
We used to use a lot of that anise oil in it too.
Excuse me, pardon me, what?
Excuse me, what?
What kind of oil?
We're not gonna go buy that
you
one.
just
real
kind
quick.
of snuck that
Yeah,
in.
you
I was honestly
snuck
not
it.
sure if you're just full of shit or not.
No. You look it up.
What is?
It is really strong. Seriously, look it
I
up.
would imagine
believe it.
anise oil would be very strong, but
Yeah,
No.
what?
Yeah.
especially after Mexican.
Go look it up.
Is it after Taco Bell? What are we
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
here?
No,
Like,
it's a very strong. It's like for food, and that you can use it
I
for
don't want to
food.
eat anything called
Hold
anus
up,
oil.
we're so far off topic,
We're
but
so-
we're
no,
in too
we're
deep.
not past
No pun
it.
intended. What do you?
What the
What do you
heck
mean?
is he talking about?
Hold on for a minute. I'm looking for it right now.
Point blank, maybe spelling it. Maybe that's the. It's
NISE.
Oh,
Fish?
Yes, it's like a licorice. I'm telling you, my granddad.
never
made
heard
it
of
all
this.
the time. I'm swear to God, guys.
I don't
used to
think I've
use
heard like the anal gland of like certain animals.
this stuff is. I'm telling you, my granddad used it all the time
How's
in
he?
a dough ball.
I've never heard of. I've never heard of it. And all of a sudden, I hear you say
anus oil
something.
in a-
Anus
in a
oil. I'm
bait.
like, whoa.
I don't. I thought maybe all you guys knew it. I mean, point blank,
Oh.
Buzzard. All you guys. Do you guys not know? Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, Kelly Cakes in chat
Apparently.
knows.
Yeah, apparently everybody's heard of it.
Our anus.
I just wondered. I feel
No,
like I'm like the only one here.
12-year-old.
No, look, I didn't know pickles came from cucumbers. Okay, it shouldn't come to a surprise to
We're not
anybody
talking-
that I don't know about anus oil.
As long as you're not saying it's coming from a chocolate starfish, we're all right.
I knew I was going to get a reaction from you, but I didn't think you was going to go that far with it.
Oh, you're welcome.
It just caught me by surprise. That's all. I didn't know about it.
You slipped it in there like we were. It was like completely normal, and we were. That's,
And it is completely normal.
Yes, it is completely normal. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I mean,
never heard of it.
my granddad taught me that when he would make the football. That's what he would use in it, and he used to swear by that catching carp more than anything.
Okay, now I have a question about this anus oil. When you're using it with the bread ball or whatever it is the oil, is that what's keeping your bait together like a ball, the dough ball? No.
You cook it in a rag. You're in it, boil it in a water in a rag, the dough ball. Yeah, this is just a scent. You
Like a
mix it
sweet
in with-
scent?
Yes, it is a sweet scent.
Oh,
It's like a licorice. You can
Black
smell it.
licorice?
No. It's a clear licorice.
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 Getting crazy.
Would you explain to these two people? I feel like I talk about pickles.
No,
Texas is like, no, they ain't. They are not cucumbers. Now I bring up anus oil and they.
You know what? I think JB Fishing with Dad has a very good question. Is this the proper pronunciation? Are we pronouncing this wrong? Is it
I would
really
assume so
anus
because
oil?
everybody other than
Or
you and I
is
fish
it-
knew what he was talking about.
Like, is this really what it's?
Anise.
Anise. Anise. See, pronunciation makes a big difference.
Yeah. Listen, I have called it that, and most
Anise.
people do. I mean, Kelly, what did you call it? Did you do it my way, or did you call it anise? Anise.
Now, Point Blank did say right away in chat that the second you brought it up, he'd said licorice. So
Yes.
People knew what you were talking about. I
didn't. Everybody else seemed to. I guess we're the idiots. I don't know.
Yeah. This is my cucumber moment because I don't know. I'd never heard of it.
You know what? If I see I got a text, and I know it's Buzzard. I almost said his first name. I know it's Buzzard probably sending me a picture of it, and I probably have seen it, and I probably know what it is.
I really don't want to be opening your phone if it's from Buzzard. Definitely don't show it.
He sent me a bunch of pictures one day. I was streaming, and I was scared to open it up. I really was.
Well, that means you've got to know Buzzard.
Yeah,
right. Everyone's got to have that friend where you're just, you don't open the phone in public.
Hey, nice. All right, Kelly. Very good.
And if you don't have that friend, you probably are that friend. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
And for those of y'all listening later or watching on YouTube, this is where we have jumped the shark. This was faulting and ending with anise oil. Anise oil.
It's more funner saying it the way I said it.
It's much clear right there.
Just leave it alone. It was great.
What the thought of mine of Grandpa's spreading anise oil. I was thinking more crop dusting.
This quickly went from a family-friendly stream to
my channel. Know that I missay things.
Words are hard. I'm with you.
You guys pick up on this crap, and I
know. I know. First of all, we cannot be having a conversation. You just naturally, nonchalantly, just throw anus in there. Like we're not gonna pick up on that.
Yeah, right.
Like that's something. That's nothing. You just let go by. I'm like, yeah, of course. That's everyday conversation. We're just talking. No,
it was epic. It was epic seeing both their faces. I mean, it's
it just sounded like there's no way he just said what I think he just said. And then I saw Fishstalker's face and I think he did say what I think he just said. I'm not the only one that's slightly shocked right now.
Everyone that I know has always called it the same thing. That's why I've called it that.
Oh, see, now I want to
look. If you're listening on YouTube later or here on Twitch, I want to know. We need a poll. Is it anus oil or anise? Or have you heard of this before? We need to know. Make sure you comment below.
Everyone in the channel heard it before.
Right.
I think
there's no way everyone did.
Yeah, I think we're the ones on the outs there. Interesting.
Okay.
Go to CVS. Ozzy says go to CVS and ask for just for it like that. Ask for it just like that.
That's right.
I'll take some anus oil.
Where do you get this oil?
They get you that, Ozzy. I'm going to tell you right now. I bet you they go get it.
I mean, I could see even with the spelling of the word, we are so far off topic, but even with the correct spelling of the word, I could still see where you would pronounce it anus.
I can
and it
see
just
where
means
you got
something else.
Yeah.
It's like, nice to meet you. It's different than I have some meat for you, right? It's the same word, but it's two different things. I didn't mean it like that either, you jackass. Obviously, there's two words that mean different things that sound the same. That's all. That's my point.
You can get it at the proctologist office.
Yeah, where do you pick up this anise oil?
Oh,
Can you just go to CVS and get it?
I mean, and the picture that Buzzard sent to me, it looks like a bunch of chocolate stars. Hey, I want to eat that.
I don't think Buzzard sent you the picture of the right thing there.
I guarantee he hasn't.
It looks like chocolate stars. It's what it looks like.
Hey, Kelly, I really think you need to send Vexus and Fish a bottle of that.
No, those look like it's a little Asian. What?
I
Really?
don't know. They look like chocolate flowers.
Oh my God.
Really? I'm gonna have to check that aisle the next time I go. Oh my gosh,
That's right.
Chief,
Well, we've
I can
unlocked
make-
this whole thing.
Chief.
Good.
Oh, sorry.
I know
Fish,
you're
go
gonna
on.
love this. Now I'm gonna have to go find this. I can make anus protein ice cream,
Chocolate.
and I'm gonna send you a picture.
Make a chocolate.
I'm gonna put it in Discord. A chocolate. It's got to be chocolate, of course.
It's gotta
Like-
be chocolate.
Well, we can also put it on Vexus's new merch, but we won't go into that.
No, we're not gonna go into the new merch.
Yeah.
If y'all are curious
That's my
about the new
life goal.
Vexus
Is
merch,
I want to turn this into ice
Go to
cream.
Vexus's channel.
yeah, come hunting with me on Wednesday night. Oh my God, what
Thank
a
you for the
what a
follow.
turn! We went from thermocline and justification and all sorts of scientifically words to
See what?
Everyone's
you
following.
said-
I love y'all.
Oh my God!
yeah, that's we've definitely jumped. I'm gonna have to edit this ending for,
Nope, this is
posting
gold.
to YouTube.
This is gold. All right.
Oh,
But I think we're gonna call it here before we get into any more trouble.
Oh my gosh, you're
I
right.
do
That
wanna
is the
say
shirt.
something
Cop
though,
got your
real
dope.
quick.
Has
Make
the greatest
sure-
name.
I would like to thank the mods for being here every week too.
So much. And everyone,
you
where are all
guys-
these follows coming from? I love you all. Thank you.
Sarah, thank you so much. Sim, thank you. I don't know where our other guy is.
He's probably at choir practice.
Okay.
And
Well,
a big thank you
appreciate
again. We
mods.
talked about it at the beginning. A big thank you to Wild Bill Texas Select Seasonings,
Yes, definitely.
our first and number one sponsor, who is already treating us amazing. We're going to talk all about his homegrown seasonings in just a couple weeks. And again, check us out on YouTube at Cast and Camo TV. Check all of us out on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, check us out on Twitch. We're live every Sunday night at 7:00 under Cast and Camo. Each of us also stream on Twitch, Chief Fox TV, Fish Stalker, and Vexus_X. We appreciate everybody being here. This was another fun night. We might know what's going on next week. We're going to keep it under wraps for a few more days just in case if things have to get shifted around a little bit. But I'm going to say my goodbyes. I think you guys feel free, but I appreciate everybody for being here.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate all of you. Have a
Yeah,
great
buddy.
night.
See you.
Next
Bye.
week. Bye
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Are we still live? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey guys.
We're
How you
there.
doing?
You know.
What are you trying to
Hey,
do?
thanks for wasting your money on follow bots too. Makes me.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have any
all the
alerts that
follows.
go anything, so
Yeah, they don't do. Yeah, they don't do anything.
they don't upset us. We've been streaming long enough. All right.
We'll see tomorrow, guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
I'm still gonna try to raid.
Coming up yet?
Gonna send the raid with that going on right now. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I'll
we're
cancel
not
it.
gonna raid y'all. Sorry.
Yeah, we got the follow bot.
We don't want to throw the follow bot to someone
yeah,
else.
Yeah, if we've got a follow bot on us, we sure as heck don't want to.
I don't want to send it. I would love
I
to raid
canceled it.
someone, but yeah.
I canceled it.
Y'all go
All right,
over
we'll talk to everybody next week, 7:00.
and everyone go getting sniping barbers. Sniping
What a
barber.
sniping
F.
barber. Yep. Give her
Underscore
give her a
F.
follow.
Go give her some love. Go give her a follow.
That's right. All right. See you guys.
Night.